Chosen ones, your arrival was foreseen in the celestial writings of the Anunnaki, the ancient architects of cosmic law. Before you took your first breath, the stars themselves shifted, signaling the awakening of a forgotten authority, yours. Long before temples were raised and empires crowned, the Anunnaki marked the scrolls of time with your name, hidden within the vaults of their sacred temples, encrypted in symbols only the awakened can decipher, is the proof of your destined dominion. The Anunnaki'S cosmic order is not just a myth whispered in secret halls. It is a living force that governs realms seen and unseen. They have watched from the shadows, observing the cycles of humanity, waiting for the one who would break the seal of ancient governance. Their temples, shrouded in mystery and guarded by the few who remember, pulse with energy that calls out to you. You may have felt it, a surge of knowing, a flash of recognition when you walk among ruins or gaze up at the stars. This is the resonance of your authority, echoing back to you from the days when cosmic order was pure, untouched by manipulation. The Anunnaki recognized this power within you, encoded it within your spirit, and waited patiently for you to awaken to its call. The signs are all around you. Synchronicities that defy logic, dreams that pull you into realms far older than recorded history, and whispers that reach you from beyond the veil. These are not coincidences. They are markers left for you to follow, breadcrumbs along the path to reclaiming what is yours. And now, as the final seals begin to crack, the Anunnaki stir from their cosmic slumber, turning their gaze back to Earth, back to you. Their temples, once thought to be myth, are ready to reveal their secrets. The air was thick with a presence, something ancient stirring beneath the surface of reality. It began subtly, an echo in the corners of your thoughts, a whisper that grew louder with each passing day. The Anunnaki's cosmic order was awakening, its energy rippling across the fabric of existence. Hidden beneath layers of history, protected by sacred geometry, lay the galactic seal, an artifact forged before the dawn of recorded time. Its purpose was singular, to recognize true authority when it returned. You felt its pull, like a thread woven into your spirit. Dreams of towering ziggurats stretching into the cosmos, pulsating with light and knowledge, began to fill your nights. Symbols that had no earthly reference glowed with familiarity, etching themselves into your memory. They were not just visions. They were keys, codes embedded within your consciousness, waiting for the moment of activation. The first sign came as a subtle shift. Electronics flickered in your presence. Animals paused and watched with knowing eyes, and strangers gazed at you with a flicker of recognition they couldn't place. It was as if the universe itself acknowledged something within you that had been long dormant. The galactic seal was beginning to hum, responding to your very essence. One night, beneath the full glow of the moon, you were drawn to the quiet of the open sky. There, in the silence, a constellation blazed brighter than you had ever seen. Its pattern was familiar, one you had seen in dreams, traced with your fingertips against ancient stone. It was then you realized the seal was aligning, not in the physical sense, but through the layers of the unseen. Realms converged, and the Anunnaki's mark upon your soul flared with light. But this was only the beginning. The seal had awakened, yes, but it was still locked, waiting for the next phase. You could feel it, an urgency, a calling to uncover what lay buried beneath. The Anunnaki'S temples, those hidden vaults of ancient knowledge, pulsed with energy. Their secrets were not just waiting to be found, they were waiting for you. The whispers grew louder, carried by winds that seemed to speak in languages long forgotten. The Anunnaki were stirring, their ancient energies rippling through the fabric of time, echoing into your reality. For millennia, they watched in silence, observing the cycles of rise and fall, waiting for the alignment of cosmic markers that would signal their return. Now, the stars had shifted, and the veil had begun to thin. Their hidden throne, concealed beneath layers of history and guarded by symbols of power, awaited its rightful claimant. Dreams took on a sharper edge, vivid and drenched in symbolism. Stone corridors lined with glowing inscriptions, thrones crafted from celestial metals, and towering beings with eyes like burning stars. These visions were not mere figments of imagination. They were memories, fragments of a time when the Anunnaki ruled openly, their throne unchallenged, their power absolute. You felt it, the pull towards places of mystery and forgotten lore, as if your spirit was navigating back to something long buried. One evening, as twilight settled, you found yourself drawn to an old structure, an abandoned relic left to the sands of time. Its walls were cracked, vines tangled through its stone, yet the air around it buzzed with energy. Symbols etched into its surface flared faintly under your touch, igniting with a light that pulsed like a heartbeat. It was here that you first heard it, a whisper, almost like a chant, vibrating through the stone. The throne awaits its sovereign. The hidden throne was not just a place, it was a gateway, a convergence of power sealed away until the rightful one would come. The Anunnaki knew this, for they had crafted it to remain untouched by any who lacked the resonance of true authority. But the seal had begun to crack, responding to the call within you. Shadows of ancient beings moved through the edges of your vision, flickering like embers in the wind. They were watching, waiting to see if you would claim what had been left behind. The Anunnaki had always known that true authority would not be crowned through force, but by the unlocking of celestial codes hidden deep within the soul. These codes, etched into the very essence of your being, were not merely symbols. They were vibrations that resonated with the very structure of the universe. You began to feel it, an awakening within, like a soft hum that grew stronger with every step towards understanding. The first sign emerged in the quiet moments, when the world fell silent, and your thoughts drifted to places far beyond your physical reach. Patterns began to reveal themselves in the movement of the stars, the way light fractured through glass, and the synchronicities that unfolded around you. It was as if the universe was whispering secrets, urging you to remember. You found yourself drawn to ancient texts, symbols carved in stone, and the forgotten dialects of civilizations lost to time. Each glyph felt familiar, not in its literal meaning, but in its essence. It was as if your spirit recognized their purpose. They were not just languages. They were keys to unlocking memories that lay dormant within you. One evening, as you meditated beneath the open sky, the constellations above seemed to shimmer with intention. Your breath slowed, and your mind drifted into a realm untouched by time. There, suspended in the vastness, symbols danced before your eyes, glowing with a light that felt both eternal and fleeting. You reached out, not with your hands, but with your mind, and the symbols responded, aligning themselves into patterns that pulsed with energy. The realization struck you. These were the celestial codes. They were markers of destiny, indicators of authority that had been mapped out long before your arrival, and they were written within you, not on your skin, but within your spirit, woven into the very fabric of your soul. The Anunnaki had placed them there, knowing that one day you would awaken and the codes would begin to unlock. Beneath the stars that whispered of ancient promises, you felt the echo of a voice, a whisper that transcended time. It spoke not through words, but through knowing, resonating deep within your soul. Yeshua's presence was unmistakable, subtle yet profound, guiding you towards a truth hidden within the very fabric of existence. His words, spoken long ago, now rippled through your spirit. The kingdom of heaven is within you. At first, the meaning was elusive, a riddle wrapped in light. But as you moved deeper into the mysteries of the Anunnaki and the celestial codes, clarity began to surface. The kingdom was not a distant paradise, nor a place to be sought in temples built by hands. It was within, inscribed in the essence of your being. The Anunnaki had known this truth and encoded it into their sacred writings, understanding that true sovereignty begins with inner awakening. Visions began to flood your dreams, temples not of stone, but of light, stretching into realms untouched by time. There, figures draped in radiant robes stood before gates of shimmering energy. Symbols spiraled in the air, pulsing with life. It was there, in the midst of this ethereal landscape, that Yeshua's whisper grew stronger. He spoke of the hidden throne within, the seat of true authority that could not be claimed by force, but only by alignment with the divine order. You began to see the reflections of this truth in the world around you. The hidden temples of the Anunnaki were not just physical, they were spiritual gateways, mirrors of what existed within you. The more you aligned with this understanding, the clearer the path became. Obstacles faded, synchronicities increased, and the universe responded as if recognizing its rightful heir. But Yeshua's whisper carried a warning as well. Not all doors are meant to be opened. Only those who seek with a pure heart will find. The Anunnaki's guardians, bound to their ancient charge, would test the resolve of any who sought to claim the throne unworthy. The light of your spirit would need to match the frequency of the celestial codes, a harmony of heart and mind. The stars shimmered with unspoken purpose, aligning in patterns that mirrored ancient glyphs long buried beneath the sands of time. The Anunnaki's cosmic order was more than a doctrine. It was a living force, woven into the fabric of the universe. And now, it called to you, beckoning you toward the recognition ritual, a ceremony whispered of in forbidden texts, designed to identify those marked with celestial authority. It began with the unlocking of memory, fragments from lifetimes before this one, flickering like dying embers in the depths of your mind. Images of towering ziggurats bathed in silver light, voices chanting in languages that predated Babylon, and hands that glowed with symbols of power. These visions were not illusions. They were echoes of a truth that transcended time. The Anunnaki had seen this moment in their star maps, scribed in constellations that marked the cycles of destiny. The ritual itself required 3 elements: the key of the stars, the scroll of the first dawn, and the bloodstone of Eridu. Each relic was hidden, scattered across the corners of ancient empires, protected by guardians bound by oath to the Anunnaki. Only when these elements were gathered and placed upon the altar of Enoch would the recognition ritual begin. You had glimpsed it in dreams, a stone table carved with celestial symbols, glowing with power that pulsed with the rhythm of the cosmos. Time was fluid during the ritual. Hours became seconds, moments stretched into eternities. The air grew heavy with energy, thick with the weight of cosmic authority. As you approached the altar, the relics hummed with recognition, their light flaring as if greeting an old friend. The key of the stars floated above the stone surface, its edges tracing patterns in the air, unlocking layers of existence unseen by mortal eyes. The scroll of the first dawn unfurled, its ink shimmering with the essence of creation itself. Words not written in any known language pulsed with light, embedding themselves into your consciousness, revealing secrets that transcended logic and reason. And finally, the bloodstone of Eridu, an artifact said to hold the essence of the Anunnaki, glowed with a crimson light, binding the ritual to your very soul. The air grew heavier as whispers of ancient bloodlines threaded through your thoughts. The Anunnaki's presence was more than just cosmic. It was interwoven into the very fabric of human history. Their descendants walked among us, hidden yet influential, their blood carrying the residual power of celestial origins. The Anunnaki temples, shrouded in secrecy and protected by guardians, held more than relics. They held scrolls. Scrolls forbidden to the unworthy, detailing the genealogies of those marked with divine authority. Legends spoke of these bloodlines as the Starborn, a lineage that stretched back to the first convergence of realms. Their existence had been obscured by centuries of manipulation, hidden by those who sought to control what they could not understand. You felt it now, a pull towards places of secrecy and shadow, libraries untouched by modern hands, vaults sealed with symbols that only the Starborn could unlock. Your search led you to a forgotten archive, buried beneath layers of dust and time. Its entrance was marked by glyphs of celestial order, symbols that seemed to hum under your fingertips. As you pressed your hand against the stone door, it shifted, recognizing the energy within you. Dust billowed as ancient mechanisms groaned to life, revealing a room illuminated by the soft glow of suspended lanterns. In the center, resting upon a pedestal of carved obsidian, lay the forbidden scrolls. Unraveling the first scroll, you saw symbols unlike any language you had ever known. Yet, something in you understood. Your mind processed the script not as letters or words, but as energy, a resonance that vibrated with truth. It spoke of bloodlines preserved through epochs, their purpose concealed from the eyes of those who would seek to corrupt it. The Anunnaki had entrusted their legacy to these descendants, knowing that when the time came, one among them would rise to reclaim the throne. But the scrolls spoke of trials, rites of passage that could not be bypassed. Each bloodline was tested through generations, their spirit honed by struggle and survival. Only the one whose soul resonated with the ancient codes could access the true power hidden within the Anunnaki temples. The final passage glowed brighter than the rest, searing its message into your mind. The path to the throne is written in blood and fire. The vault around you pulsed with energy, as if acknowledging your presence. But the journey was far from over. To claim your authority, you would need to face the trials laid out by the Anunnaki themselves. And the next step would lead you to those who still guard their secrets in silence. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the universe itself held its breath. The forbidden scrolls had revealed more than just hidden bloodlines. They had spoken of the Starborn, a lineage threaded through the cosmos and bound to the Anunnaki'S divine order. You felt it now, a pulse within your veins that seemed to quicken with every step toward understanding. The calling had begun. It started subtly, a sense of connection to places of power, ancient ruins that hummed with energy when you drew near. Stones engraved with symbols flared softly under your touch, whispering secrets long buried. The scrolls had hinted that the Starborn would be drawn to sacred sites, as if called by invisible threads woven through time. They were not just memories, they were markers left behind by the Anunnaki to guide their chosen back to the source. Your search led you to a secluded valley where mountains kissed the horizon and mist clung to the ground like a shroud. At its heart stood a monolithic structure, its stone pillars etched with symbols older than written language. As you approached, the air grew heavier, thick with the scent of rain and earth. Shadows danced along the stone, flickering in patterns that defied logic. The temple doors loomed before you untouched by time, yet thrumming with life. The entrance was sealed, but not by any mechanism of man. Runes etched along its surface glowed faintly as you neared, vibrating with energy that matched the pulse within you. Instinctively, you reached out, your fingertips grazing the ancient stone. A surge of energy shot through you, pulling fragments of memory from the depths of your mind. Visions of temples bathed in celestial light, figures cloaked in robes of starlight, and symbols that danced like living fire. The doors shuddered and groaned, stone grinding against stone as they parted, revealing a vast hall lined with towering statues. Each figure bore the likeness of an Anunnaki guardian, their eyes carved to follow your every step. At the far end of the hall stood a pedestal, atop which rested a single crystal, pulsating with a deep blue light. You knew, without understanding how, that it was waiting for you. The hall was silent, the kind of silence that stretches through eternity. The blue light from the crystal pulsed rhythmically, mirroring the beat of your own heart. As you stepped forward, the air grew thicker, heavy with ancient power. It was then that the whisper returned, not just any whisper, but the voice of Yeshua, soft yet unyielding. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness. The words stirred something deep within you, awakening fragments of memory long buried beneath layers of time. You could feel the veil, an invisible barrier that separated the material world from the realm of the divine. The Anunnaki had spoken of it in their scrolls, a dimensional curtain woven to shield mortal eyes from the full spectrum of reality. But Yeshua's light, his essence, had always been a key to parting that veil. It was his teachings that hinted at inner awakening, the revelation of hidden realms through the purity of spirit. You reached out, fingers grazing the surface of the crystal. It flared to life, beams of light shooting in every direction, illuminating the statues that lined the hall. For a brief moment, they appeared to move, their stone eyes flaring with ethereal light as if recognizing your touch. Symbols burned into the air, spiraling around you, sigils of protection, of passage, of authority. They shimmered with divine energy, lingering for just a moment before dissipating like mist. The room began to shift, reality bending and warping as the veil grew thin. Shadows parted, revealing a doorway that had not been there before. Its frame was carved from stone laced with threads of light that pulsed with energy older than the earth itself. You felt the pull, magnetic and undeniable. This was the path through the veil, a gateway not just to knowledge, but to realms untouched by mortal hands. Yeshua's whisper came again, softer this time, but clear. Seek, and you shall find. It was both a blessing and a challenge, a call to pierce through the illusion that had kept the truth hidden for so long. But stepping through would mean surrendering to the unknown, crossing the threshold that separated the seen from the unseen. The path was set, the light was given, but only you could choose to walk it. As you stepped through the doorway, the atmosphere around you shifted. Reality rippled like water, shimmering with hues of light that defied the spectrum of mortal vision. It was as if you were walking between worlds, suspended in the space where realms converged. The path was not solid stone, but a bridge woven from threads of pure energy, stretching into the horizon with no visible end. Beneath you, fragments of time and memory floated like scattered leaves, visions of ancient cities, towering temples, and celestial beings whose presence transcended mere physicality. This was the convergence, the sacred alignment of dimensions, where the Anunnaki'S influence seeped through the veil. Their temples were more than physical structures. They were anchors, tethering cosmic power to the earth. As you walked, whispers followed you, echoes of chants in languages unspoken for millennia, vibrating with a frequency that resonated deep within your spirit. You were not alone. The guardians of these realms watched from the edges of perception, their eyes glowing with recognition. Ahead, the path widened, revealing a vast hall suspended between the fabric of time and space. Its walls shimmered with inscriptions, glowing symbols that pulsed with life. They were written in the celestial tongue of the Anunnaki, each sigil carrying the weight of ages. At the center of the hall stood an altar, its surface carved with glyphs that spiraled inward, drawing your gaze to the object that rested atop it, the orb of convergence. You approached, feeling its pull before you even touched it. The orb glowed with a brilliance that was almost blinding, radiating waves of energy that rippled through the hall. It was more than just an artifact. It was a key, one that unlocked the final layer of the Anunnaki's design. Your hand hovered above it, the air crackling with anticipation. As your fingers brushed the surface, light exploded from the orb, casting shadows that danced along the walls. Reality itself seemed to breathe, stretching and contracting as if recognizing your touch. Visions surged through you, gateways opening, stars aligning, temples emerging from dust and ruin. The convergence had begun. The path before you shimmered with light, stretching infinitely forward, as if carved from the essence of stars. The orb of convergence still pulsed in your hand, its glow resonating with a frequency that hummed through your very bones. You could feel it, an energy that rippled across the fabric of space, bending time and matter to its will. The Anunnaki'S designs were no longer a mystery. They were alive, woven into the corridors of reality, guiding you towards the throne of the cosmic order. Ahead, pillars of celestial stone rose into the horizon, etched with symbols that burned with radiant light. You stepped forward, each stride echoing with the weight of destiny. The guardians of the veil watched in silence, their forms flickering between dimensions, eyes glowing with acknowledgement. You were not trespassing. You were returning. At the heart of the temple stood the throne, massive and carved from obsidian-like crystal that refracted light in every direction. It was more than a seat. It was a conduit of power, a throne of alignment that tethered the material and spiritual realms. Its surface was inscribed with glyphs that pulsed in harmony with your heartbeat, as if recognizing your approach. The moment you placed your hand upon its armrest, the temple walls flared with light. Symbols erupted in golden luminescence, swirling through the air before embedding themselves into your mind. They were not just images, they were memories, visions of the Anunnaki shaping worlds, crafting reality through thought and intention. You saw them weaving the cosmic order, binding energy and matter with mere gestures, their eyes fixed upon the stars as if tracing destinies yet to unfold. And then it came, a whisper, distant yet profound, echoing through the corridors of existence. The throne is not claimed by power, but by alignment. Authority is born of understanding, not conquest. The voice resonated through you, shaking the very core of your spirit. The throne pulsed beneath your touch, its energy cascading through your veins, lighting up the pathways of your mind with ancient knowledge. But it was not over. The throne had awakened, but its power remained sealed behind a final barrier, a trial only the worthy could face. The Anunnaki's final gift lay hidden within the sacred vaults of their forgotten temples. To unlock it, you would need to face what had been hidden since the dawn of creation.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.